Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and happy 2026. Woo! So with the new year, most people make, or I guess a lot of people, make resolutions, and I am no better. And so I don't think I really have any like a concrete list or a mood board, but I just keep a mental note. I mean, it's all art, you know? They're all art goals. So as I'm figuring out what things I'm going to do or kind of projects I'm making for the year, I'm just trying to be thoughtful of what I want to get better with. And we're starting off the year in a way, for sure. That's a definite. But one of my goals is to get better at drawing environments and kind of being able to world build with art. So here we are. We're drawing backgrounds, world settings. I don't know if this would be considered background art. Whenever I think of background art, I think of like a visual novel. And so I'm not really doing that. So I don't know if this, I don't know. I'm trying to get better at backgrounds is the ultimate goal being encompassed here. So I thought I'd start off with something a little easier. Go for a place silhouetted by a sunset or sunrise. It could truly be either, depending on where we're looking. And I obviously haven't thought that through. But this is just going to be a way for me to ease into getting better at drawing a background, because you can't get better if you're not trying to. And so here I am trying to do it. It seems to be a theme. And you have to do things to get better at them. So the sketch I did, I think I always doubt myself when I'm starting a piece, because I'm like, if I record it, it's going to put too much pressure on me, and then it's going to take like 5 years for me to get this sketch out. And then I end up not recording it because I don't want to waste time and like storage on my computer. And then it takes me like 15 minutes, and I'm like, oh, this is what'll happen when you don't put pressure on it. But also, now I don't have it to show. But I guess that's what time lapses are for. So there's always that. Especially nowadays, I feel like it's like a fear to be like accused of using AI or Gen AI in any sense. And so I'm always like, I need proof that I did this all myself, and it came out of my brain, and then I used my hand to draw it. And so I've been posting time lapses on YouTube Shorts. Hey, I'm doing it. I need to get better about doing it on Instagram. But people I know follow me on Instagram, and so I'm like, throwing my OCs over there is like, no, I can't be perceived, even though that's exactly what I'm doing right now. What is it called? Cognitive dissonance. Love it. But that's been the time lapses have been like a good sense of peace for me to be like, no, it shows the whole thing. Don't worry. I'm not cheating. I'm not stealing other people's art to make art or to make something else. But I digress. As it is the start of a new year, even though it's the 17th of January when I'm recording, I guess this will be my resolution place where I put it. Oh my god, this will be the place where I put my resolutions. Good lord. Did you have a hard time with that like I did? So, like I said, making backgrounds, or getting better at environmental design and background design is one of my goals for this year. I also want to start sketching more. And you know when you see something, it's like I've never even had a glimmer of that idea in my head. And it's something that's it seems so simple, But I had a moment like that recently where I saw someone on Instagram Reels, I think, and they have a sketch document, like just a big canvas, and they just sketched there. And I was like, what? That sounds perfect. How have I never thought of that? And so I really want to get into that this year. And I've already planned out what I'm like when. It'll be a video next month. So look forward to me filling sketch documents. What do people call them? Are they called sketch docs? Or are they just like, let me know, I guess. Because I don't know. But I want to get into that. So we're already on the docket, if you will. I also want to make a lot more, I guess I can say niche, just more specific to me, things that I'm a fan of. I found it really easy to fall into what a lot of other people I follow post. And so, like, the thing that comes to mind is Pokemon fan art. I love Pokemon fan art, and I would much rather support those fan artists rather than the corporation that is the Pokemon company. Because I don't know what they're doing with that money, but I know these artists are just paying their bills. But it's easy, or it was at least for me easy, to fall into being like, oh, I'll just do that. But I really want to keep making art as something for me, because we don't have a lot of things that are for ourselves. Whoa, what? That are for ourselves. There's not a lot of that, especially nowadays. So, in trying to keep this piece of me for myself, I'm going to make a lot more niche fan art. So I've also already started doing that. I have a throwback to a Boomerang short. You remember? This is really, I think, targeting my elder Gen Z, younger millennials who liked Boomerang, the channel that had like a bunch of retro cartoons and no, yeah, it was mostly just cartoons. So like Tom and Jerry, wow, blanking on, Jetsons, Flintstones, what are some other, Johnny Quest? Yeah, I remember that. Magilla Gorilla. Ooh, what, Secret Squirrel? Is that his name? I was obsessed with those because I loved the sound. The sound of the audio is just so, like, it sounds old. I'm a big fan. And the animation, it's like all, or mostly hand-drawn. So fun. Tens across the board. I really want to do some fan art for things in there because they feel like very special and nostalgic to me. So instead of kind of going with the flow of very widely appreciated things, I want to make things that I'm like, tee, look at that thing. I love that. And that can be something that can be enjoyed by masses. Who knows? Maybe people are looking for Magilla Gorilla for sale art, and I would like to make that. So watch out for that this year. I'm also going to continue making fan art for YouTubers that I really like. Just not celebrities. I'm so tired of celebrities and the entertainment industry as a whole. I never really got celebrities in the first place. And so now I've just kind of like detached from that kind of side of society. I do still enjoy like some things, obviously, because it's entertainment. I'm not like, oh my god, everything that's cool is like terrible, blah 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 blah. And it's like, I just don't want to. I want to be more specific with who I'm giving my time and money to, you know? In this new year, another goal, another resolution. They're just coming out of me naturally. Yeah, I think those are kind of my biggest goals for this year. I'm going to try to not just do things because other people are doing them. I'm going to try to do my own thing, you know? That's kind of why I started this channel in the first place, is because I don't really see anyone like me doing this content. I love watching art YouTubers, but if I could have a little more representation of people like me, that would be cool. That's all I'm saying. And not like quote unquote men, I guess. But just more people who like the things I like. I don't know. I'm trying to do that. Be the art, or be the art you want to see in the world. Make the art you want to see in the world. That vibe, you know? Anyway, I have talked way too long about that. I haven't even talked about the art. So, that first painting, or digital painting we did, was of Bekelekulu, the Kingdom of Vampires, in my original story that doesn't have a name, but does have characters that I've kind of designed in a haste that will probably be redesigned in the future, because that always happens, you know? But that is where that is. You'll notice the giant bubble that's protecting it from the sun. Or its patrons? Its citizens from the sun, and the giant acacia tree. I'm so proud of how that came out. I think it looks so fun. And the light kind of peering through. I'm really happy with how that first painting turned out overall. This one that we're now working on it was more of a challenge. I started out really simple, the silhouette, bubble, pretty flat land. I added those mountains in the back because it was really lackluster and just so flat. It just felt it didn't feel like a real place that could have been. So really happy with that, how that turned out. And that informed this piece. Although I think because of how happy I was with that, this one was just kind of doomed from the start. I started out with those really simple shapes, which I think was a good idea, especially with tackling something like a giant city with towers and buildings and a huge wall. And then the rest of it kind of just came into place, at least for this base. This base layer, I felt so confident in myself. I was like, look how this looks. I'm doing it. We're doing it. I think it kind of goes into a new goal I'm gonna have. But I need to study value more. Value in tint, right? Shades? I don't know. Tint and shades are colors. Value and light, who knows? I think it's just value. I need to study value more because I don't think I pushed it enough, but I also think it kind of looks like burnt in the end, that outer wall. I'm really happy with how the inner buildings turned out in the end, so I can happily report that as a win, but we'll see. It's a battle for sure. But that's just the thing with learning a new skill, I guess. It would be crazy if I was just able to whip out super detailed backgrounds that have perfect perspective and like depth. It'd be wild. And so, gotta start somewhere. And here's where we're starting from. I know it's not a great gauge because I did go to school for art, and so I have like the foundational knowledge. So if you're just starting out, I wouldn't expect to be here, but you know, it's all progress, and that's what matters. I do want to get better, obviously, in that regard. I want to be able to, I guess I need to look or to study those. That would have helped, huh? I just kind of jumped in head first, or I dove head first into this to just see where I'm at, because I had no idea. I had never really gone full out into drawing a background. You know, how you get to that point in the process where you're like, oof, this isn't it, I should just throw it away. I had to push past that. And so I was like, oh, we gotta commit to it, because if not, then I don't have a video to post, huh? So there was a lot of back and forth during this process of me being like, oh, this looks really bad, I don't want to show anyone. And overall I was like, well, who cares? I did it, and I can only hopefully get better. So put it on the internet. Show people, hey, just do it. Do the thing. I'm trying to be open about the fact that I'm not too happy with the end product of this. But I can only get better. And that holds true for everyone. Isn't that right? So, if this video I guess can do anything, it's to, or I hope it inspires you to make art that you're not super proud of or happy with. You should be proud because you made something, and like right now people are refusing to do that and instead steal other people's art, which is insane. But you don't have to love everything you make. You just make it, and that's enough. That is one thing that I really appreciate from starting to post art on the internet. It's really forced me to not be so precious about the art I'm making, and not so maybe I am still as critical, but I still post it anyway. So if that says something, I guess. But really, just getting stuff out there, it's been good to kind of lose that ego of like, if it's not perfect, why would anyone want to see it? And if I can't be perfect, then why should I even try? It's like, what? That's a wild way to think. Because you would never, well, I would hope, you would never put such a expectation on anyone else in the world to be perfect. You know? So it's like, why are you doing that to yourself? You want to do the best you can do, I'm sure. But sometimes that's not good enough, and that's okay. It's okay to not be good enough sometimes, because then it leads you into being better, or finding something that you're more aligned with. Is this getting a point across that I am hoping it's doing? I'm just kind of talking into the void, being like, is this a lesson for me or anyone else? Let's try to make this a little more beneficial for one or both of us. But let's get back to this art. Lay down the first layer. Now we're getting into some more details. I think having the sketch layer at a really low opacity was the biggest help to me. My biggest fear with like going into, or with trying traditional art, is, at least painting, is losing the sketch. The amount of fear I felt when in like drawing 2 classes, I think was when we started using color, when the sketch was covered up and everything was there. I do love how it looks to just have those blocks of color that tell you the shade, or like that give a 3D form, but it's just so scary. I love having a transparent layer that I can like turn on and off, be like, okay, this is nice. I guess you can do that with a projector, but it's one of the biggest like with digital art for me, and I love it for that. But another goal, studying value, and maybe trying out some more traditional this year. I know I should really maybe get digital down pat first before I do that. It's a on and off again. It's a situationship really between traditional and digital. Although digital has had me, we've been going steady for a while. Has me in a grasp, in a chokehold. Yeah, maybe. Well, that'll be my tentative. Like, if we get to it, we get to it. That's cool. But I am, speaking of value, the rocks. Hey, I think they look like rocks. And that was pretty exciting for me. Also, the directional shadows on the mountains. Love. Digital painting is turning out to be a huge pastime, I guess. I don't know. I really like it. I know how this talk, like, I love, whoa, hey, I'm really excited. But digital painting, like I was just talking about, it really takes that stress of like losing the sketch and not knowing where like I want things and how they line up. Drawing them over and over again too is just like, ugh. But if I have a sketch to follow, I'm like, oh, thank God. Okay, it's kind of that thoughtless flow state vibe where I'm like, yep, just going over my lines that I did, but a little more intentional and fixing them where I can. I do really, really enjoy the process of digitally painting, and the brushes that are, I do use a specific brush on this. I'm pretty sure it's the Juno pencil just a Clip Studio Paint brush, but it's a square or a rectangular brush, but it has a soft edge on the bottom. I know it makes really clean lines that fade out nicely, and I'm a big fan of it. See, because you can get those like crisp lines on the building there, but then you can also like feather it. It's a beautiful brush. I recommend it highly. Maybe I can put a link to it in the description, although I don't know if it's a free asset. You know how like sometimes they have those like every now and then free assets, but if it is free, I will put it in the description. Editing me, don't let me forget to do that. Please and thank you. And this is that flow state, just going through, fixing things. I thought those windows were like strangely short, so they got to turn into taller guys. And I think my favorite part hasn't come up yet, but for a long time during this process, my favorite part was that tower at the tippy top with the little balcony. I think it's so cute and so Rapunzel coated. She's just hanging out up there, huh? Well, not in this world. Oh, this is also another, oh my gosh, what setting? Good Lord. Another setting in the world of my OCs. This is Asther, which is the big, I can't remember if I said it in the other video, but I'll probably I guess I really want to overhaul the story this year and just really set things up, which I guess can also be a thing I do. That would be fun. But anyway, this is the city where the meeting of the great star is happening and all of the characters meet for the first time. So I thought it was fitting that the first two locations I would draw would be the first two that kind of the first two. I also need to draw the village where Anila comes from, but I digress. These are the two biggest places in the story, or at least the beginning of the story, because they do go to other places. It's kind of a world travel story, so whoa, hey, what? I would say that these two are the first big locations they go to. That seems more correct and apt. Still pivotal places, so I wanted to make them recognizable and kind of feel real, I guess, but also feel magical. So like the Bekelekulu has the giant bubble covering it, and then this city, Asther, has the lions on the front of the wall / gate. And I think it would be fun. I'll have to, when I figure out how to draw lions fully, I want them to be kind of like golems, where if anything threatens the city, the walls kind of turn into 3 or maybe 6. There has to be another entrance to this place somewhere. That can't be the only one. No one would be able to get out or in. So at the other gates, I guess there would also be 3. So there could potentially be 12 giant stone lions protecting the city, and only a couple will come out at a time so that the others can stay as the wall. Hey, we're world building in real time, and that's fun. But look out for that concepting video in the future. Yeah, fun. I also want to do something with drawing like the interior of the town, exterior of the buildings. If that makes sense at all. Okay. Now I need to talk about making compromises in art. I don't know who I thought I was trying to learn how to draw backgrounds and the anatomy of lions in the same piece. I had big goals, I guess, but we got a little more realistic. I learned how to draw their faces and their manes. I think the manes turned out pretty well. It's very Steven Universe, Rebecca Sugar, lion, you know, that is the shape language I went for with the lion's mane, which is very fluffy, very flowy. And I think I really like how they turned out. Not bad for lions. And the shading really helps, because I knew it was right, but I know it looks crazy right now. The face I'm looking at, the center guy, I promise the shading will fix it. I was really wondering how I was going to make this look like they were carved into the wall, but it's obvious that they look like they are carved jutting out from the wall. Maybe I was going, well, let's just tell our intentions. We'll let the audience decide, huh? But they were supposed to look like they were kind of set in. Obviously they would poke out further, but in like some places, like the face, but along the edges, I wanted it to look like they had carved a little bit into the stone. So don't know if that translates, but oh, look at his little face. I really didn't. I was looking at him and I was like, this guy looks crazy. I don't know how I'm gonna fix him. And then I added the little muzzle and I was like, oh, you look real. Okay, we got this. And by real, I really just mean I wanted it looks like a lion, like a cartoon lion, which is enough for me. I am realizing though that the problem of me wanting it to look like the lion is carved into the wall instead of being carved onto the wall, if that makes any sense. But I shouldn't have extended the lines from the wall into the mane. If you understand it, you'll understand it. I'm just going to talk through it. I should have had a clean line around the edges to make it look like it was being undercut instead of sculpting at the lion's mane, which makes it look more external than internal. So I guess another lesson learned while making this video. That's fun. Let's move on to what's happening now. Looks like I'm starting to highlight, so let's talk about that, shall we? The sun rays are fun, but this outer wall gave me hell. It doesn't really make much sense with where the sun is, but I knew that it needed to be highlighted a bit, this is really where it is. The struggle of understanding value. Because I know that this needs to be really dark because it's like there should be no sunlight hitting this wall. But it's still lit up, and that's something to learn from. Hey, whatever. And then to make myself feel better, I got to draw the steam coming out of that building. I didn't have an idea of what I wanted that building. Well, I knew it was going to have steam coming out of it from the beginning, but it doesn't really make sense. I don't know what that building is for. It's kind of like when you were younger and you saw, at least for me, we had a factory that looked like it was making clouds. And that's just kind of what that is. It's just a cloud making building. But I got to put little rainbows around it, the steam, and that made me feel really good. After doing the rest of it. Yeah, see? Look how fluffy. So yeah, I think great first video back. Lots of rambling. We got some work done. You know, you did whatever you did while watching this video. And I drew and I drew 2 backgrounds or fantasy settings. I still don't know what to do with that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please leave a like. And if you want to stick around and see more of this content that I'm making, subscribe. You can also follow me on Bluesky at JadenDionArt and Instagram at JadenDionArt. It's on the screen. Go follow me there. I'll see you next time. Be safe and make good choices.